Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy, and if you're new to my channel, kindly subscribe, share, and like my videos, and also put on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new tutorials. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how I made this lovely play suit. I would like to make the markings on a white piece of paper, which I would later transfer to my main fabric. And because this is a play suit which has a crotch, I'll be marking 3 inches away from this point. Now I'll go ahead to connect these points together. The next step is to mark the starting line, which is also the shoulder line. So I divided my shoulder measurement into two and I had 7 inches, which I connected horizontally to the top of the vertical line. For the neck measurement, the neck width is 4 inches, while the neck depth is 5 inches. I'll connect these 2 points in form of a square so I can easily get a curved neckline. I used the French curve to connect both points together in form of a curve. To get the shoulder slope, I placed my tape vertically from the tip of the shoulder measurement to mark 1 inch, which I connected to the neck width. To mark my round hole measurements, I placed my tape vertically from the tip of the shoulder slope and divided my round hole measurement by 2. My round hole measurement divided by 2 is 8 inches. I marked 8 inches, which I connected to the tip of the shoulder slope as shown. I placed my ruler horizontally to make an horizontal line, which is going to be the bust line. The next step is to get the midpoint of the armhole line, which is 8 inches divided by 2. After which I used a curved ruler to connect this midpoint to the bust line. Alright, the next thing I did was to deduct 1 inch from the end of the shoulder slope, which I connected to the round armhole. So this line served as a guide, which is not longer useful at this stage. The next step is to place my tape vertically from the shoulder line to mark the waistline. So from the shoulder to my waistline is 15.5 inches. And from the shoulder to my hip line is 25.5 inches. The full length of the playsuit, which is from my shoulder to my desired length, is 35 inches altogether. Alright, so on the bust line, I'll be placing my bust circumference divided by 4. I went ahead to add 3 inches sewing allowance to the side. On the waistline, I placed my waist circumference divided by 4, which I also added 3 inches sewing allowance to the side. So I connected the bust circumference measurement to the waist circumference. On the hip line, I would place my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 3 inches sewing allowance to the side, which I connected to the waist circumference using my French curve. Obviously, the hip circumference is always larger than the thigh circumference. So what I did was to take the entire hip circumference plus the sewing allowance included and placed it on the M line to mark directly on it, which is 12.5 inches. Now I'll connect that point to the hip circumference as shown. To mark my crotch curve, I placed my tape vertically downwards from the hip line to mark 4 inches. On this 4 inches point, I placed my tape horizontally to mark 2 inches. For a plus size person, you can mark 3 inches at this point. I went to connect this point to the hip line using a French curve. On this point I marked previously, I placed my tape vertically to mark 3 inches, which I connected to this extended curve. Alright, so this is all for the front piece. After cutting this out, I would use it as a template in cutting the front piece and the back piece of the play suit. To cut the front piece of this play suit, I folded my fabric into two to place the template directly on the fold. I started by cutting out the neckline to the shoulder slope. Since there is a joining at the center of the play suit, I'll be adding half-inch sewing allowance to this side of the play suit. So I went ahead to add 1 inch sewing allowance to the hem of the play suit. If you would want your play suit to be longer than mine, then you can add more inches to the hem to get your desired length. The next step I took was to fold my fabric into two, and then I placed the template directly on the fold. The main reason why I didn't cut both the front piece and the back piece together is because the crotch for the back piece should be larger than the crotch for the front piece because of the butt. Alright, so I placed my tape horizontally on the crotch to mark 2.5 inches. For a plus size person, you should mark 3.5 inches, which I use the French curve. Connect this to the center line. Here I made sure the ruler was facing down so I could connect this point to the M as shown. Alright, so for the center line, I added half-inch sewing allowance. And I'll also be attaching a zipper, but as we get along, you understand better. Now I went ahead to cut the neckline, the shoulder slope, the armhole circumference, and the entire body. I also added 1 inch sewing allowance to the end because I did the same for the front piece. Alright, this is the back piece. I placed my tape vertically from the neckline to mark 11 inches. So the 11 inches is going to be the opening in which the zipper will be attached to. And from this point I mark, I will be taking this to my sewing machine to make a straight stitch to the end of the crotch as shown. After attaching the back piece together, this is how it should be. The next step is to use a bias tape to secure the neckline and the armhole. Now I went ahead to attach the zipper on the zipper opening. So this is the final outcome for the back. Now I'll take the front piece to my sewing machine to secure the center line by 1/2 inch to the end of the crotch. Here I would be using the bias tape to secure both the neckline and the armhole circumference. The next step I took was to cut out a pocket and to place it on one side of the front piece. I took this to my sewing machine to stitch the sides. So I placed the back piece on the front piece as shown, and to attach the pocket, I placed my tape on the waistline to mark 2 inches. Now I would use a scissors to notch this point I mark, and this notched part will be a guide in attaching the pocket. So I went ahead to notch the other side to which the pocket will be attached. Here I have 4 pieces of the pocket and I'll be attaching them separately. Since I've secured the pocket, I'll be taking this to my sewing machine to secure the sides by 1 inch all through so I get to the M. Now I'll secure the tie opening by folding it in. And I'll also repeat the same folding for the other tie opening. The next step is to secure the crotch by half inch. The final step is to attach the straps. So for the straps, the length of the fabric I'm using is 18 inches and I have 4 pieces of it. So I would fold the strap into two and take the measurements of the shoulder, which is 2 inches. When I placed it on this fold, I have 2.5 inches, which simply means that if I should sew the sides by half inch, I'll surely get 2 inches. So now I'll take this to my sewing machine to stitch from this point all the way to this point. So on this point, you should have an opening. I'll repeat the same sewing process for the other straps. My straps are ready. I turn them to the right side of the fabric, and on this opening, I'll be folding it inside by 1 inch. And then I'll go ahead to insert each of the shoulder slope into the strap as shown. I'll take this to my sewing machine to stitch. So this is the final outcome. I hope this tutorial was helpful. You should give it a try, and if you are new to my channel, kindly subscribe, share and like my videos, and also put on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new tutorials.